Hello there. Late night or early morning, it's always news time at the Guardian's paper roundup, and hoo boy, have we got some stories for you this week. First up, Germany, where Father Winter has been tightening his grip on the country, but amid all the larking about, there's a cold wind blowing through the Bundesliga too, a cold wind called fan violence. Yep, the Bundesliga, widely regarded as a model for a successful football league, have got problems too. This week, the 36 clubs in the top two divisions voting to introduce new measures for security in stadiums. Not just nudie tents, sadly, but more video surveillance, fewer seats allocated to away fans, and no more flares coming into stadiums. If only they'd act now on the stonewashed denim, the world will be a better place. Two clubs voting against the plan, Union Berlin and the good old skull and crossbones flying St. Pauli. Well, angry supporters have staged a blockade of the hotel where the decision was taken this week, forcing worried security men to spirit Karl-Heinz Rummenigge and others out of a side entrance. Fans say they may now boycott Bundesliga matches. Reaction from the press, mixed. Bild say it's a good day for our football, it's not an attack on our fan culture. Süddeutsche Zeitung disagree. It's the government that are the hooligans here, they say, with their scaremongering. Football is not a leisure activity, but a way of life, and this will only increase the sense of isolation of fans, strengthening the radical forces on the terraces. Well, say Frankfurter Allgemeine, roadblocks, aggressive policing, video surveillance, it'll give some an uneasy feeling. But then again, so do crowds of angry black-clad fans. Yep, because there might be a Sisters of Mercy gig nearby. Well, wise words there. Far worse problems, though, there are in stadiums abroad, of course, as one German side found out this week. Hamburg, who were delighted to be invited to inaugurate Grêmio's new ground down in Porto Alegre in Brazil. Delighted, that is, until they found yellow puddles in the new showers, a rubbish pitch, a bus blockade on the way to the ground, and Grêmio fans rioting on the stands during the inaugural game. Grêmio, huh? Wonder if they fed them after midnight. Oh, I bet that water cannon didn't help either. Still, Hamburg got off lightly. Consider the case of Argentine side Tigres, who went to Sao Paulo this week for the Copa Sudamericana and got a gun in their gut. It makes your stomach turn, says Argentine paper Olé, pausing for a quick pun there on revolver. The problems anyway began on the way into the ground when the Tigres bus was pelted with rocks. Then the team were banned from warming up on the pitch, and then after one of their players had given Lucas of Sao Paulo a bloody nose, a fight broke out at half-time in the tunnel, and in the words of one Tigre player, 30 armed guards burst into our dressing room, aimed their weapons at us and hit us with iron bars. And Tigres didn't bounce back, refusing indeed to come out for the second half. So after a bit of hanging about, the referee then awarded the game and the title to the home side, who went off and celebrated. Well, the Argentine press less than impressed about this, says Olé. They are the champions of shame. La Razón call it a nightmare, a scandal. Rather less coverage of all the trouble, curiously, to be found in the Brazilian press. Globo referred to a night of confusion with fights between players and security personnel. Folha de São Paulo have one or two scuffles there on the pitch, wild celebrations off it, says Diário do Comércio. They were paper tigers, and they quote manager Ney Franco, Tigres couldn't win, so they just chickened out. There was no fight, no weapons, it's all just a story. Club president adding just a little bit off message, seeing the RGs get scared like that was my favourite bit. And who cares, we're now champions. Possibly not, because the wonderful thing about Tigres is they are actually appealing to FIFA, understandably. Well, if we're hearing more about that. Meantime, the big news this week in Spain was, of course, Lionel Messi breaking Gerd Muller's goals record. In Catalonia, his achievement, not so much about the goals, more about humiliating one more time Madrid's forwards. Ha! Says Sport. He scored 23 goals. That's as many as Cristiano Ronaldo, Higuain and Benzema put together, and they cost 147 million euros. While AS from Madrid responded by championing the cause of the late lamented Zambian star Godfrey Chitalu for the 107 goals that he apparently scored in Zambia when no one was looking in 1972. Says AS's very own voice of reason, Thomas Roncero, FIFA buried this. They wrote this man out of the history books because they wanted to increase the power of the European game. Well, regional bias, eh? AS would certainly never stoop to that. Well, 2 games left for Messi this year anyway, Bayern's permitting, so who knows, could even beat that 107 tally anyway. But one final item for us for right now, and it's from Italy. How about this? Drogba, Juve, yes, it's on. Drogba set to go to Turin from Shanghai this January. Of course, he'll have to leave again almost immediately for the Africa Cup of Nations, but it doesn't matter, says Gazzetta, because he is the piece that Juventus are missing. He, perhaps more than even Chelsea, they say, is the real holder of the Champions League title. With Juve's current team, they're worth the quarterfinals, maybe even the semis, but with Didier Drogba, there's no limit to what they can do. Plus, says the Gazzetta, he's no risk at all to team spirit. After all, he gave all his other teammates rings. So did Sauron. Anyway, while Juventus plot their takeaway from China, that's where we'll come to the end of another paper review. We'll be back in 7 days' time with more on those and perhaps other stories too, so make sure you join us for that.